I've heard talk about the Epic connector either last year, this year, or just had your own opportunity just recently kind of come up as we've been trying to talk a little bit more in the marketplace about the functionalities of what we have. So I thought it was important for everybody to understand what we've got going here, how you can demo it, and come up with any other questions that you have along the way. I will say that the Epic is one piece of pharma connectors that are out there. We are well aware that there are more out there, and kind of have a little side project right now to make sure we get a few more. It's been my experience and experience, I'm sure, of a lot of you on the phone, that you'll run across opportunities, and it's just not a solo Epic opportunity. It's going to have McKesson, it's going to have CPR Plus, it's going to have other ones in there, and we're finding some new players in the field as we go along. So part of our goal is to try to do what was done here, which is to make a very simple turnkey type of integration that you don't need to spend a lot of time, figuring out the finer details of as far as a quoting perspective or anything. It's just, hey, we support it. And then from there, once we know that we support it, and we could give a little demo and show them and make them believers and all that, then it's a question of what are the same type of cadence that you go through when you're looking at an opportunity. What are the things that are important to them, and then you're going to start making your product level decision in your head as you start to gather these different requirements from the client, because there are differences between the platforms, which you're well aware of, that one can be customized, one can't. And although 360 we're pouring more stuff in there every 2 weeks, there's just still some things that we're not going to be able to do from a client perspective unless it's something that we figure that is going to be beneficial to everyone. So I'm going to take it through the experiences today to show you what that looks like. We're going to focus on the Epic connector. We could do a future one with McKesson. McKesson's going to work very similar. I can touch on that at the end here, and then we can talk about some future ones. So if you have questions, just go ahead, and I saved them to the end last time, but it's actually, I like it better when you just ask in the middle. But we can certainly either or we can do here. So we'll get started. So everybody, hopefully you can see my screen. I am logged into the PSP, or technically the internal enterprise application. So if you ever get asked what enterprise you're in, because everybody's in what's called PPD right here, a very easy way to figure this out is to go to users, cost centers, any one of these right here. And what you're going to see is there's a little name underneath here. That is the name of your enterprise. So it is possible, and I can log into a different PPD enterprise right now where this URL is going to be the same. And then this is what tells me what's different. In SPE, we call those tenants. In 360, we call them an enterprise. So just as a little clue there. So when you log in, take a look. I think most of us have access to this. I recently enabled the Epic connector, which you'll find underneath advanced shipping. I can't say it's always going to be here. If it moves, we'll let everybody know. I'm kind of lobbying it for it to move, but I'm one kind of voice there and got one opinion, and we'll see where it lands. Right now, there's a new screen called advanced shipping. When you click on it, now I've got mine already connected up. You can kind of see off in the gray in the background, we got Epic, and we got this beautiful thing in front of us asking us to scan a barcode. Not my favorite, but it is what it is, right? You scan a barcode right here, and the order is going to appear. So before we go ahead and do that, let's go talk about a little bit about what this integration is, because once you understand it, it's very easy, and I think you'll see that it's going to be very easy to demo. Possibly, if you're lucky enough, you might already run into Epic customer that has a barcode. You can log in on your laptop or their PC, whatever it is, and do this demo right on theirs with their barcode. So it would be kind of a cool experience. So I'm going to pull up right now a PowerPoint that Aaron Evans put together. It's very thorough as far as who we are, current state, all this kind of stuff. Just kind of talking about the problem right now with pharmacy shipping. You have a 2-screen solution where they're literally cutting and pasting from the Epic side over to whatever interface, and that's on the way in and on the way out to close the order. right? It's manual. There's no integration between there. So kind of talks about that, goes into some other charts, how we can help, all this kind of stuff. I scroll right down to the bottom. In fact, some of the follow-up I did on the last call, I just sent out these 3 slides. Not because I don't think those are worthwhile, but it's from a technical aspect, and you can see they got cool little animations that tell you how it goes. So this is still helpful. But I want to get down to this because this to me is kind of what customers are going to ask about, and you got to be able to answer them. And it's not a very difficult concept here. What we have here is that they have their little prescription delivery sheet here that says what kind of prescriptions this particular customer is getting. Here, I'll blow it up a little. This barcode is not necessarily there. It could be in some way, shape, or form. It might not even be the right barcode, or it could be blank. You'll notice over here on the top here, they have to get with Epic and ask for this particular SLG, whatever number, to be configured. So the Epic has created kind of a workflow or a barcode spec that if you call them as an Epic customer and you ask them to add that, they'll know exactly what that is. What is that? Well, look below. That is a barcode that consists of their work number, the name, address information, email, ship methods, signature required flag, how many prescriptions are there? So this one has 2 up here. And what are those prescription IDs, and then this fill IDs? All of this is basically wrapped up in this barcode. And what that looks like is these 2 samples down here. All they do is separate the data up above by a little tilde character. So that's all it is. So essentially, that means from a demo aspect, if I copy this or I make my own string, if I'm really creative and put my address or a different address that's local to the customer in there, so you want to personalize it, you literally can take this, copy it. Okay, I'm going to use a Control-C to copy. I'm going to pull up the scan order, and I'm going to use a Control-V as in Victor to paste it. Now, what it did here, I'm going to get rid of the address suggested here. You can see it took and basically parsed that barcode data and put it into all the proper fields. So this would be the user experience. Now, my resolution's a little big here, so I'm gonna bring it down a little here. We talked to some of the designers about that, because I think this is fairly small, and I'm sure it's looking really small on your guys' end here. But this is the interface that the customer would use. You can see, I'm gonna blow this back up for your guys' purposes here. You can see it grabbed the work order information, everything from that PowerPoint and from that barcode, and it did all its decoding and put everything in the right spot. That is technically not a true integration. I didn't reach out to Epic, right? I just literally pasted a barcode or barcode information, more specifically there. So it's not reaching out anywhere. There's nothing I need to actually connect to. It just reads the barcode. The way out, that's a different story. We'll talk about that in a second. So you're seeing a couple things in here and you're going, why is it USPS? Why does it have 6x6x6 and a weight of 1? That's because over in the Epic connector setup here, I can set defaults. Now, some of you may notice my dimensions are 6x5x4, so we got a little bit of a bug there. It's taken the first dimension and cascading them across, so we have to get some things going on there. But the client can set defaults. They can certainly change the carrier, everything like that. I will say that I'm not necessarily in love with this UI, but it does work. It is limited to what you see here. If you're going to go in and make any changes, you're going to have to go into here, kind of do the shop experience, pick the one that you want and pick any sort of signature confirmation. The signature confirmation flag does not automatically come over in the 360 environment because we have this signature required. It's a known issue, and it's something that they're looking at fixing here, hopefully shortly. So that's one thing right away that you could say, well, that might be problematic if I have to manually go ahead and select that and go from there. Other than that, if it's maybe a lower volume, you're okay with, kind of that workflow. Hey, we can go ahead and make this work, go through, print your label, print it right out like you normally would, and away you go. and the screen would clear out, and you got to click the scan order to start your next one. Now, what happens now after I've shipped it? That's when you can go back to your PowerPoint, kind of illustrate that a little bit more. So what it does is it actually, this is where there is an actually call out to an API that we're pushing a message out to Epic and saying, hey, we just shipped this order. Now, if you recall that order, that had multiple, I did the second example here, John Oates. So if we look at John Oates here in sample number 2, you'll notice that there were 2 prescriptions in here, 2 fill IDs. I think it's a 1-to-1, if I'm not mistaken. I have to close both of these with the same tracking number, right? I only have 1 tracking number, so I want to close both those orders. So the great thing about this is it will write a single order with the tracking number, or in the case of a multi-script order, it will write back the same tracking number to both of those and close those out. That information, once updated to Epic, will be available to the end patient in their MyChart or the pharmacy team through their screens in Epic. And I was just asked the other day if I had a screenshot of that. The best thing I found in this document here is that they keep showing this mobile app where it's available on MyChart. So the patient would, in theory, know about this information in real time once we get that back. So again, as far as Epic only, the inbound part of that is not reaching out anywhere and grabbing that information like a traditional integration. It's literally pulling off that barcode. It's only the one way at the very end in order to write the tracking information back. What else are we writing back on that here? We write back the carrier ID and the tracking number, essentially. There's very little things that that Epic has the ability to go ahead and do that. And some of the stuff is mentioned in here that they don't look at the tracking status. So we can't push them a tracking status of in transit, rejected, anything like that. So we still have to rely on our Pitney Bowes reporting in order to do that possible enhancement for Epic in the future as this relationship grows. So that's really it for the SP or the 360 side. Again, grab this sample out of here. We'll give you a copy of this. This full deck is available in Seismic. So if you're out there, you can search for Epic. There's a McKesson one as well. It's a fairly easy thing to go ahead and do once you've done it before. Any questions on that so far?
Hey, Nick, would it send a notification like you would like a normal shipping package where you could notify the recipient, right? With just clicking that box with an email? Is that something that is available?
Yeah, unfortunately, it's hard to tell because the way they did this interface, it doesn't really tell me if that's going to be enabled. I'm given an email address, but on the regular screen, as you know, you've got that checkbox. So it's a little bit of a mystery. It's a good call out. I can take that away and ask and see. I believe though with notifications, you might be able to kind of make that happen anyway. But let me take that as a follow-up.
Would Epic manage that perhaps instead of from our system?
They could, and I think they want to try to control that a little bit. As far as the notifications, and if you are on MyChart, you might get a notification saying that there's a new message on there. So that might be a conversation that you have with them. But I mean, that is the whole purpose of us writing back, is that, oh, right there, patient receives ship notification via MyChart. So they probably are pinging them. I'll still that would be a good follow-up for Epic and or Aaron Evans on that. But we'll find out both ways.
Hey, Nick, on the current state workflow, I get all the copying and pasting they're doing now in whatever shipping system. Are they also executing the order and then perhaps entering or copy and pasting back into Epic, tracking numbers, stuff like that?
It depends on their current process and whether or not they are doing that. That's the impression that we're getting, is that it's both ways. But you know, that could be up to each individual person. There is an implementation guide as well, so this gives us a little bit more legitimacy, I guess, with the client, is that Willow has come with something. This is embedded in the PowerPoint. So it's a whole guide here that they came up with from an Epic perspective, not a Pitney perspective, talking about what they need to do and everything right here, stakeholders for the contract. So it's a good little read. Even though this is a fairly easy integration, you can still see that there was thought put into a lot of this right here. So you guys all have the ability right now to go into advanced shipping. I'd encourage you to try it out when you get a chance. The active connectors are epic. Like I said, if you click on it, you go here. If you hit disconnect, you'll break it for everyone. But I can re-enable it with 3 different bits of data. But if you come in here and it's not working, somebody did a bad thing. So let's not click that button. Let's talk about the other things that are underneath there for add a connector. Right now we have Epic and McKesson on there. Like I said, kind of have a goal to have a few more logos on there, even if that drives us into different spots of the UI. We've got a question last training session about Script Pro and the fact that Script Pro is available in CPQ. I think it kind of got ahead of itself right there, and it maybe got submitted. There are some rumors of some functionality that exists, but it hasn't really been mainstream. So for right now, we're going to say for a 360 perspective or a PSP, PSE perspective, these are the 2 we support. Hoping to come in with more news that's saying we got 2 more right behind them shortly. But as it stands right now, we're going to stick with the narrative that we've got Epic and McKesson. Let's talk a little bit about McKesson. McKesson is a true two-way integration method. You can see when I click on it, it wants to get some information. I need a certificate. I need a URL for the communication. That would actually, when you put in a number, it would actually go out, grab the information, bring it back, put it into the screen, just like you saw with Epic. And then when you ship it, same thing, it would send a message back out. You can read, there's a deck on McKesson on Seismic, and you can look at some of the screenshots and everything. Unfortunately, with McKesson, if we enable this and we use some of their actual test orders in order to facilitate that, if you ship them, they're done. So we would constantly have to get new orders. I'm telling you right now, the experience is the same as Epic. So if you have a McKesson, even though it says Epic in the background, you can go ahead and do this whole cut and paste and give them the same experience and explain to them, maybe use the deck in order to provide those screenshots and everything like that, because the experience between the 2 right now are the same. I just don't want to enable the McKesson and have us accidentally ship an order, because if you hit print label, that nobody can use that order again, and then we'll have to be bugging McKesson for more test orders as we go along. So if it really becomes an issue that somebody absolutely needs to see it, I guess reach out to, and then we'll address it from there. We'll figure it out. Again, my goal, see a few more logos on here that we can easily show that we have all these connections. Other than that, even though that's a different interface, everything still reports in the history the same way that you would expect it to. There's no difference in the other actions that you see in here. I'd like to see it, just a little plug here, that I'd like to see that experience really fall into here more, so we have that kind of UI that we're used to with all the options and even the little email tracking options down here, as John pointed out. We'll see where it goes. It would be kind of cool to have the option up here to click that Epic button or something like that, but there's a lot of design work and things that have to be taken care of and taken into account. So for right now, we've got that and it works, and we can go from there. Any questions?
Question.
Yeah, go ahead.
This is Rich. Are you able to select if there's multiple prescriptions if you're not going to fill all of them? I know in SPE, I'm sure we were able to deselect prescriptions. So if they didn't have them, if they only had 2, they could only fill 2 out of the 3. They could deselect it.
Right now it's locked down. And that is a question I'd have to go back and figure out if that was by design or what. But in this, it's locked down, and also in SPE, even though we have control over that field, the default screen that we had them locked down. Um, I've I've been told that if you are ready to ship this thing, it should reflect what you have on here. This whole packing, this prescription delivery. So there must be a way to validate prior to this generation. And so what you have in your hand is ready to go. So I believe we've been told to lock those down, but I can double check that.
Perfect, thanks.
Nick,
All
I
right.
have a question.
Yeah. Yeah.
When you scan in that barcode, right, and it's got the work order request, prescription ID, fill ID, and then after you ship it, you look at the history. I don't see that data being saved. Is it not saved in our because it's written back to them? I think that's
so
the
you
way
did
to
this
do
one
it.
right here?
Yeah, yeah.
Did you
Oh,
do
I
the single
see
one?
it. Wait.
Yeah,
Oh, okay. So the
you
first,
probably did the sample of the first one,
Yeah.
which is, I think I did this one right here, John Oates. There we go.
oh, I gotcha. And then what about the or what's that first field? Work order request. 22.
That is not on here, and I'm not quite sure if it needs to be. That's a good question. So you would think if we're capturing it, that we want it on there.
Yeah, because that's probably what they would search by, right? Like it's an order number, I think.
It might just be the roll up of, and I'd have to go read a little bit more about it, if that's just what combines those two together as far as a shipping prescription delivery. So it may be more impactful for somebody to understand their prescription number versus anything else, because that's, that work order number or that work request number doesn't even show up in the screenshot above or anything. So we can certainly look at it though.
And then when you scan the barcode and you come up to the package screen where it shows the package and the cost,
Mhm.
can you have the handling charges included in there if you wanted to do some? Would it automatically add those in?
In this interface, if you turn one on, I have not tried that. So you're just talking about the regular handling fees or the markups?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know. It seems to add in the special services, but I have not when enabled any sort of handling charges or additional charges. I'm trying to do one really quick here. So zero FedEx Enterprise handling charge. Well, is this being done? This is enterprise level shipping charge 15%. So it might be added in there, not even telling us.
Well, that's FedEx, though, huh?
Yeah, but I did mine as FedEx.
Oh, did you? Okay.
Yeah, I wonder if we'd have to basically do this. We'd have to try it here. Oh no, you're right. You did, yeah. Never mind. All right, let me try this FedEx. That's right. That's right. I did mine as USPS. We'll see now. FedEx server will be offline. Hey, look at that. Okay, so let's try the prior to 815.66. Let's try that.
Oh, and it'll show the charges right below it, right? Because you can undo them. There you go.
Yeah, so let me see though if, yeah, it says plus handling. So view detailed cost. It did say plus handling for a second there, and then it went away.
Yeah.
So this interface is a little. What's 144 though? Because we got 115. Oh, there we go. Handling charge. So there's my $2 one.
Okay.
So incorporated into there. So that's interesting.
Um.
This could be the other percentage. There was another one that was on that enabled, which was a percentage. And I bet you that's showing up as a user charge.
Okay.
So there you go.
And I have another question too about the weight, you know, and you can set the default weight in your little
Yep.
settings, but are they all, is it getting the weight from the number of prescriptions or somehow know the weight, or they actually gotta weigh each package?
No, they gotta weigh it. I'm not really sure
Okay.
the value of the default weight, to be honest with you. But no, they have to weigh it.
Okay. So
As you
where
can see, I
do
don't
you,
have my device.
where do you
hooked up.
weigh it?
This
Oh,
will be
I see
enabled
the
if you have your
scales in
device.
there. I gotcha.
If your device hub's enabled, which I've got mine enabled to a different tenant, so it would take me a little bit to unwire that, but
Okay.
that would be enabled and I could click it and go from there. So for demo purposes, it works. It's nice to have that in there, but yeah, otherwise the user experience would be they click the get weight button.
And as soon as you print the label, the write back is immediate. They could go over to Epic and see it.
Yeah, it's within, it's pretty much real time.
Second, yeah.
It might go, it's gotta make a hop to Cresco and on its way out, but yeah, the message goes out.
Can they do international or they don't? Prescription.
Prescriptions typically not. There's
Okay.
nothing stopping them from necessarily doing that, but that would be an interesting use case, which is another reason why, I mean, again, we don't see it, but I'd like to get it over into the main shipping screen to get all the functionality on here, like, you know, if they have to change billing terms, which I haven't seen that in the pharmacy a lot. Usually the pharmacy's paying for it, and they get it all figured out, which is why they want to, you know, have the records retention and everything like that. So, but right now, like I said, it's gonna be in this advanced shipping one, and then we'll go from there.
Are there
Any
any-
questions?
components that are locally installed, or is everything in this interface included with Pitney Ship Pro? Are they local components?
No local components. So
Okay.
cloud integration, which is really the parsing of this barcode, and then the secondary or the write back, which is managed in a cloud application, cloud to cloud communication.
Thank you.
So yeah, nothing to install. Now, when you do the install for the first time, there's 3 pieces of data that you have to go ahead and add. I guess I could disconnect it really quick and show you, but it's not that big of a deal. It's something like this where it comes up and you paste in the information that you get from Epic. You'll actually see if you read through the PowerPoint, it does talk about some of those onboarding activities and what you actually need to do. So we've got our client ID, our authentication endpoint, and our write back domain. So there's 3 different pieces of information that you do get, and they are specific by client to plug into there, and then that's it. So if you have those 3, it's about a less than a minute activity to punch those in, and it's immediately ready to go. So very easy onboarding, very easy to demo and get going from there. All right, let's take a look at the SPE experience. If there's no more questions, or we can come back to it if we need to. This one is also enabled here. I was taking a look at it because we've been messing around with some changes on the screen. So if we see some little possible bugs, then you can blame me because I was trying to fix an issue. So you'll see that this is more of a warehouse type of experience on this interface. Obviously, from the start, you're going to know right away, we can modify the screen. We can, you know, make that field, like Rich, you were asking, we can make that field not read only, so we can mess around with the fills and the prescriptions and stuff like that. So we're a little bit more reactive to the client's needs in here. I would warn you though, is that you can't change what the write back is. You can't necessarily modify all the stuff coming in. So we kind of want to be careful when we take a look at those requests that a customer has. We want to build this as the, hey, this is a CAN interface. The more they deviate from it, the more that you might have some support challenges down the way. Someone's going to say, oh, I know the Epic interface and here it is. And it's just laid out like this. Oh no, somebody went and modified it. What's going on type of thing. And so we start to get into those kind of one-off scenarios that we're talking about. So the experience here, very similar. It doesn't have the nice floating graphic of the barcode, but you're going to go ahead and scan the barcode in there. And as soon as you scan it and hit enter, there's my error I was hoping to see. I'm trying to fix the ship via method here that's kind of having a problem. But you'll see the same information came in as we had before, laid out in the traditional SPE interface that you're used to seeing. The thing that's new that obviously your eyes are drawn to here are all these fields in the middle that that have parsed out the information. You'll notice that the signature required field is in here. So if we're going to go ahead and take a look at like special services, you'll see that it's already turned on. So all that information is already, it's 100% configured. There's no difference on the way in on this and how this works as far as, you know, parsing that barcode. There's no difference on the way out on what it does as far as what it writes back or anything. That part of these two are the same. Your difference is your interface and what you have in here, and the fact that right now, you know, again, this is going to get fixed. The signature required does work. You notice they put whoever designed the screen for SPE put the number of subscriptions. That corresponds to what you see right here separated by comma. So that question came up before. It's not something we use in write back per se. Anything else, we're just looking for, you know, these fields in here separated by comma. Sure, it's a helpful little indicator, but someone pointed out that it's not in 360. It's not a field that's really a big deal. So they omitted it, probably for good reason. I don't know.
The weight and the
yeah.
dimensions don't carry over, right? So that'd be a difference there.
Yeah, that would be the other one is that you don't default, but as you know, you can go ahead and default it if you wanted to. Kind of back to Sydney's point though, it's like you're not going to have a default weight, you know,
Right.
and you probably don't want one. In our SPE flows, we're probably going to have this thing go ahead and hit the weight button automatically once you scan it, which can easily be done. And then you can go ahead and key in the dimensions, or maybe, you know, like I've got a customer that has the cursor go right there after they scan an order. They type in the dimensions, and as soon as they leave the height field, it clicks the weight button, and bam, it goes and rates. So there's zero other differences as far as your shopping experience. If you want to default it to USPS and or have it respect the ship method ID. So if we go back and take a look at the ship method ID, there's a couple different options on here. So if you look at the top here, it's this one right here. Here's the shipping table. So it's either a 1, 2, or 3. They don't have it down to a service level. In fact, they'll have a little blurb on that Epic does not pass the service type, but a request for enhancement has been proposed. So even though it says ship method, it's up to you to define, okay, I got a 3. That means USPS. Okay, well, I need to go into, oh, I hate that little button that's in the way. An installer thing, but the installer needs to go in here and say, okay, we're going to create a couple codes. We're going to create a 1, 2, and a 3 translation code. Go in here. We go to code translations. You already see I created a 1 and a 3. So you can see right here, 1 should go to ground advantage and a package type of package. So you can go in and define what those are. Even if you want them to be different and you want this to say UPS, it's going to be a USPS selection through Epic, but it's going to be flipped to US or, you know, UPS if you want it to. So you're ultimately in control of what 1, 2, and 3 mean as far as when it gets in our system. But just know that, you know, Epic's going to define those as they have on this PowerPoint of 1, 2, and 3 in their interface. So yeah, very easy for that to set up, and then we got to get that to work. Right now it's not respecting something here. I'll figure that out shortly. It should go something like that. Voila. And if you guys didn't know that, that's where the custom codes are, or the code translations are. You can just go ahead and select that and then boom, that's what the experience should be when I sent that because it looked at it and said it's a 3. Oh yeah, 3 means this and we're ready to go. Once they get a wait. So, like it is, SPE is always going to be a little bit more flexible. I would caution you again on the use of that. I just saw one right now that we're taking a look at for looks like another customer. We got Hennepin Healthcare on here. They put the little logo on there. Hey, that looks all good, but you can see that everything is here. Looks like they got a little testing button on there that they exposed and they forgot to turn off. But you know, it's the same type of thing, but it looks like they put their little logo on there to make them feel a little bit better or whatever it is, or customize it. And but otherwise everything else, if I paste this in here, it does what it needs to. Looks like they installer had it the order number up there, which is okay. But you can see that even though this screen was customized for them, it still works with my barcode because again, we're just parsing data and put it into fields. So it's kind of low tech when it comes to integration. All right. Questions, comments, anything else you want to talk about? Anything I missed? I can't think of anything I missed. And you were in the last reading today. Skip over anything? Can't remember.
I have a quick one, Nick, again.
Sure.
For the three translation codes, is that something that we should identify in a statement of work? Or is it just known that it's gonna be done?
No, you should probably call them out. It will be overlooked most likely because in the SPE world, this has to be set up. Unfortunately, in the 360 world, it doesn't exist. The concept of translation codes, it will be there hopefully before the end of the year. But I would definitely call it out an SPE.
Thanks.
Because yeah, because otherwise the installer is probably not going to know.
So just to clarify, we are bringing in the PSP one, we're bringing in the carriers, we're just not bringing in the service type yet. But in SPE, we have the option with the translations to bring in the service type and the carriers.
Yeah, the SPE can do that. In PSP, PSC, it relies on the default that you set over here. It doesn't respect those at all.
So that's just using that default. It's not actually bringing information from Epic
Correct.
as far as service type is concerned. It is, but it is bringing carrier though, right?
Nope, it doesn't bring carrier. It just brings in, it actually ignores the ship method.
Are we ignoring signature required as well
Yep.
from in PSP?
Currently, yep. So one thing I could do to kind of prove that out. So let's take this here. This is where I say you can mess with this a little bit. So let's take that 3 and turn it into a 1, which is UPS. Let's go into here and give it a whirl. Yeah, it's just using the default. So for some it might work. For some you might have to kick them over to SP. So without a default, it defaults to all carriers, to which you would then do a standard shop. Go through this exercise and then go from there. If you have the default, you can still do the same thing. It will limit you down on the shop, and you'd have to change your filter if you wanted to do from there. All right, any additional questions, comments?
You guys are
Yeah, they're both available in the demo. If you can't get to something, let me know. But everybody should have the ability to go into the advanced shipping. If you don't see it, do me a favor when you send me an email or something, go and check your enterprise by either going into, like I said, users or something on here. Check out what you're underneath, and it has to be enabled per enterprise. So I only enabled it on this one right here.
And as you're playing around in it, if you have questions, if you want to reach out to Nick or drop the question into this chat group, and I'll make sure to add it into the Q&A as well.
The other thing I'll say on that is if you have comments, right? Put them into the, into the product ideas portal, please. These do get seen by engineering. If you need this link, I can drop it in the chat here. But this is your sounding board for, hey, why does it not work with signature required? Or why does it not do the carrier translations, right? When, I think that would be a really good thing, type of thing. So you can see some of the stuff that people have put in here. I would encourage you for not only Epic, but other things that you run across. This is your way to go ahead and do it. Don't send an email to a product manager or to myself or something like that asking, because I'm just going to tell you, put it in here. And once you put it in here, I'm going to go ahead and vote it. Pete edited this one here for 360. I went and found it, and I said, yeah, we want to do it. This has been around for a while. If you guys don't think it gets viewed, it does. You may not see action on it right away, but this is our way to go ahead and communicate to product. If you're confused about the format or want to walk through one, you can either reach out to me or you can go in and take a look at somebody's and go from there. But this is definitely a great way to get user feedback or our feedback to product. Doesn't mean it's going to be something that's accepted right away. And you can see right here, this does not want to see any sort of bugs per se, but the stuff that we're finding in pre-prod and stuff like that is fair game in my opinion. And also, the things that you point out that are missing need to be in there as well. So there's a plug for that. I'll drop that in here just in case. You will have access to it because it uses a single sign-on, and we can go from there. All right. Well, last time we did this, we had about 3 or 4 people reach out with opportunities. So I'm hoping that once everybody feels comfortable, and starts asking the questions, you are going to bump into clients that use a multitude of so what am I trying to say? Systems like we have said in Epic and CPR Plus. When you run into those, just know that there's going to be a limitation on the 360 side. We're looking to close that gap, but SPs might be the way to go for right now. It can handle it as far as having a multitude of them. We might do over different screens. We might take a look at the order number. I know I had a client locally in Minneapolis that used 4 different providers in the same pharmacy. They were a centralized pharmacy. Everything came to them. The example that was at the sales kickoff with Grady Health, well, they were pretty much an Epic shop, and they were trying to flip everything over to Epic. To represent the schedule or the spectrum, I've seen more so of the multiple providers because some of these kind of specialize in certain areas of healthcare. But that's not to say that you're not going to see somebody that wants to push all the way. Epic seems like it is something that is pretty popular out there in the market. We're hearing more and more about every day, even from some local couriers that are starting to say that to see it. We're one of the very few people that have this integration. Cindy, don't you, what was it, help me remember, is University of Colorado that you're working on right now?
Yeah, I think that's the one.
They figured out how to parse the barcode on the way in, but they can't figure out how to get the data back. So, obviously this part's not that hard for somebody to do on their own shipping system, but to tie it back to and getting that information back to Epic is key. And that's somebody that's looking at it right now, looking at what we have, because we do have that functionality and we can close that for them, because obviously not having that is it becoming problematic. Probably their patients not getting information or their patients calling in looking for those tracking numbers. So, I will say that these type of engagements usually have some sort of local courier attached to them, which can be problematic. We're starting to build out more and more, and there'll be opportunities to raise up how to get those courier requests in front of the proper people that I know Ann and I are working on a process on. But bring those forward to your essay, and we'll take a look at them. So unless there's any more questions, that's all I got.
The only thing I'll add, Nick, is Cherokee Nation that you're very much aware of, but they had Cerna and Indisha and moved away from it and going to McKesson simply because the reporting was really bad and they were very disappointed in it. But the McKesson rep actually brought it to this client's awareness that there's a Pitney Bowes connector. So I think that's good news. Obviously, we have the connection with Epic as well. So a lot of their sales reps out there are passing it on to their clients that we've got this connector. So that's a good news story.
Absolutely, absolutely. And yeah, we had that. We had a courier, actually T-Force, courier carrier. I know everybody's seen T-Force in different varieties. A lot of times LTL, but they do small parcel. They kind of echoed the same thing that they're seeing a lot of it, and they heard that we have an interface. So we do have a leg up in the market. It seems. I don't know how long that's going to last, but it seems like in the engagement that we've been involved in, we're getting some pretty good traction here on it. And as you see here, this is a very simple type of workflow, but it's something that's important to clients, especially when they're shipping hundreds of these a day and they need accuracy not only with the write back, but and then also the reports, the storage of the data. So those are all things that we can provide. So we're checking a lot of boxes as far as the solution is concerned.
3032.
And Nick, is email notification not usually needed for these type of shipments?
That's kind of what we were looking at before. John brought it up that the interface here really doesn't show me that it's going to email, and I can't really see that it's on or not on 360. But if you take a look at the PowerPoint, it does mention that the patient is going to receive a ship notification via MyChart. I know,
That's it.
yeah, I know I just got an email the other day. I couldn't figure out what the message was, but it said I had a new message in my MyChart. So something went in there. I don't know what it is. So I'm reading on that I would get some sort of information if I'm registered. And I know for my healthcare provider that uses Epic, I am registered, and I did get an email saying that the other day.
Oh.
So I imagine the experience would be the same, and that most likely the Epic's going to want to control that communication.
Yeah, because I mean, we're not putting the email address in the ship address, right? We're not entering
No,
it
but
anywhere, so.
we wouldn't need to because of
Yeah.
the fact that it was there, you know, so.
Because it's in my chart, you mean?
Yep.
Yeah, okay.
So I'll take a look to see if I had it, but sticking sharing bars my way here. Anyway, yeah. Can't find it, but it was on my personal email, but it definitely did come from Epic. So in any case, yeah, so go ahead and try it. Let me know if you have any problems with it. If there's any sort of discussion or you want to go over it again. Like I said, pretty easy thing. If you do get an error in the SPE one that's enabled, I apologize ahead of time. I'll try to get that fixed pretty quickly here. But all it is it's trying to figure out this ship method ID and trying to make it happen over here. So got a little bug going on.
Like the demo part would be fairly straightforward, easy. What might trip me up is the questions they're going to ask because I'm not familiar with the lingo. I've heard even Aaron said, you know, they have specific terminology they use, right? And I think you had another document. What was the other document you referenced earlier?
So Cindy, this is really FYI for you. Work with your solution, solutions architect, right? So they're going to be taking the lead for the Epic McKesson for the pharma.
Right.
So as you know, ask them if you can join in on some of their calls. If you find a lead like this, definitely turn it over to your solutions architect for now, and ask them if you can ride along, and then you'll learn the lingo as they're speaking to the clients.
Mhm.
So we definitely put that weight on you guys right now.
Well, and they're being brought up in this new also. They don't know the lingo yet, right?
Some of them do and some of them don't.
Okay. All right.
So you have a lot of great content within this whole thing. I think what you were asking about is this guide, that Epic implementation guide that's embedded in here. So it's on page 22. So this would be straight
Oh,
Epic
that's it,
lingo.
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, okay,
Yep.
perfect. Thank you.
But again, I like it because this is a guide published from them talking about Pitney Ship. You can interchange Sempro Enterprise in there. It's okay. It's the same. We just had to have them lead with one of them here. So a lot of the technical stuff behind the scenes, but it will also talk about the Epic lingo itself on here. So if you want to get well versed, like I said, it's in there. And then you also have the McKesson one that's a very good a PowerPoint as well. That's up on Seismic.
And as far as authentication, we don't care if it's single sign-on or not. Doesn't matter, right?
No, it's completely independent of this whole thing.
Okay.
I mean, think of this like, like a regular integration that you're doing to an Oracle or SQL, right? It's completely independent of how we log in. Yep, that's all. There's some mention of integration in there, but it's really about how we connect to Epic. So. Cool. All right. Well, any questions or, anything along the way that Phil think about right now, let us know and we'll get it answered.
Thank you so much.
Thanks for your time.
Yeah, thank you, Nick.
Yep, we'll see.
Thanks, Nick.
Yep. Bye. Thank you.